Hey there viewers, and it is day 14 of the web design challenge, and I'm going to show you how to design this concept. And I'm using Figma, or you can use whichever one you use, and this is for a team version startup. My name is Roy, I'm a web designer, and let's get into the video. Okay, so before we get into the video, if you do like the content and you do find it helpful, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and let's get on. Okay there viewers, so if you get out your app, hopefully it's ready, Figma or Adobe XD. I start in 1920 by 1080. I quickly get the text on the page, and this text is: the startup wants to build a global decentralized distributed version control system. And that is quite a lot of words, and immediately in my head that is basically like Git or GitHub version control. Now what my twist on it is, this is version control for creatives, and I got this idea from GitHub, where the main headline is built for developers. So here I'm using a font called Space Grotesque, and it's free, it's on Google Fonts, and the headline I normally go with 48 pixels in bold or in medium. I already have a nav component, so what you can do, you can pause the video and you can just put a button, put free text as the nav, and then just a dummy text logo. I called it team version. And then here what I'm doing is I've just created a button from my component library, and I just put in the text, I can't remember now, it's sign up, yes, and there I put it font size 20 and in medium. And what I tend to do for the button, I have a height of 72 pixels, which is large, and then I have a padding of around 40 on each side. And you can see here that I've made the main heading, I believe, around 60, and in bold as well. Now this is straight from GitHub, which I think is a great idea. They say built for developers, but this is built for creatives. And I'm highlighting in the text decentralized and version control system. And here I've made a longer CTA, which is again very similar to GitHub. So I put in sign up for team version, which is probably a terrible name, and in there I put a text field, and this I've just copied over the button. I just changed the color, which is like a borderless input field, because there's a lot of talk about not having too many borders on your design, because when you have a lot of borders it makes the design very busy. So there I've just used a very light background for the input field, and here this is the second button, the login button, and I just had a border outline of 1 pixel. And now what I'm doing is I'm just going into stories.freepik.com just to look at any illustrations, and these are free, which is awesome. So I found a couple, and the only downside to these two images is it's one person, and that doesn't really feel like a team. So I think, yeah, I'm just trying it out just to get a feel for it. You can see that visually it does look nice, but it doesn't fit the brief very well. And I'm trying out, basically all I did, I just copied the frame and made a new one and just changed the image just to see how it looks. And I think that's great, because you got different versions just to explore them side by side. And now I'm just going through a library from Sketch Valley, and they got some really good illustrations. Highly recommend them. So here I found very good ones which has a team, and it's remote as well. I hope everyone's safe, by the way, with the whole COVID situation. So I thought, let's stay on the current world situation, and let's stick to remote rather than in-person kind of collaboration, because at the end of the day this is a version control system, a global one. So again, yeah, I thought, oh, I found a really nice, I found two illustrations that I felt could fit really well. And an easy thing to do is just to use the illustration. I mean, that there, it looks great already. You don't have to do much. But for me, that is a bit, when I say lazy is a nice word, it's an easy way, it's an easy thing to do, but you want to try and make the illustration part of the page or part of the brand. And in this case, obviously I haven't developed much of a brand, but what I've done with the shapes of the button, which are square and rectangle, I tend to use these type of shapes throughout the design. So one thing that took a while was actually finding each vector within the illustration, because I had to group each one. So here what I'm trying to do, I just created a nice big rectangle like a background, just to unify the design a bit in terms of shapes, because I'm using square buttons. So I thought, let me use a square background, put the illustration inside, so it feels a bit more unified. So here I'm going through the trouble of selecting the elements that I don't want to show. So I thought that the screen border, like the phone and all that, I don't think it's absolutely necessary. I'm trying to strip away elements that is not that important to see, but they can still see that the users are in different places. So I thought, yeah, again, this illustration is really nice, but yeah, it took me a while to separate out or to group the components, because they're all kind of in one layer or one group, depending on which app you use. So here, yeah, that took a while, and this video is about 55 minutes. I brought it down to around 10 minutes. So hope you're enjoying it so far. So yeah, please do follow along or in your own time, and this is just a great way to practice. And again, here I've just enlarged that one, because sometimes when you get an illustration, they're quite small. So one tip is just to enlarge it a bit. You want it in its full glory, and it's vector, so it's going to be sharp. That's the beautiful thing about SVG or vectors. So they're very adaptable. And here, yeah, I'm just placing the different illustrations, trying to group them, and you can see I'm stripping away the borders and just trying to make it a bit more minimal, a bit more clean, which is something that I try to stick to, because that's the style that I love. And you can have your own take on this. That's the beautiful thing. Rather than have shapes of devices, you could put them all in circles, for example. If your brand is got a circle in the logo, for example, that would be a very good use case. It could be in triangles, it could be in hexagons. That's the nice thing about illustrations again. So what I've done on the bottom there is put in another headline, again similar to GitHub, which is get started with enterprise, and then it's an arrow. So that will hopefully entice the user, if they are an enterprise, to scroll down and explore below the fold. So here I'm just changing or playing with the background color, but you don't want to be too strong on this. So I went with the lightest orange, a really light orange. And if you're struggling to find colors, there is a really good resource, which is Tailwind CSS. If you look it up in Figma community, it's the same framework that I'm using to pick colors, and it's just so easy to find red, green, blue, which one do you choose, and it has the scale of them, so you can have the really light version or the dark version. And with design, in terms of ratio, when you're choosing your colors, you want to have a ratio, I forgot the number now, but most of it is going to be white, and then you're going to have some of it in the colors, because you don't want the strong color to dominate the whole page. So yeah, if someone knows that ratio, please share in the comments. So here again, I thought, okay, the circles I think is way better, but I thought, well, let me experiment and try rectangles there. So I just took out the circles. Again, I had to group everything. So I had to group the characters into their own group. Then I could put these rectangles behind them, so it's kind of acting like a background from them. And I felt this is quite different as well. Sometimes you want to be different from other businesses. You don't have exactly the same design, so it's fresh, it appeared different to stand out from the competition. So yeah, I think that's the end of the video. So every day I'm designing, and I hope you are too. Keep practicing, and if you're a beginner, if you keep practicing every day, I promise you will get better. So again, my name is Roy. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what type of length you like. Is it the really quick 5-minute ones? Is it this 10-minute? Is it the long one? Or you just like a mixture of them? So again, yeah, have a good day, or have a good morning, afternoon, evening. Goodbye.